have to make the optimum use of survivors' intelligence. The survivors have much more first-hand knowledge, and we must make use of it and convert into, digitalize it and analyze it. We have to gather as much as possible and create a big data, and the data have to be analyzed to know that how this technology is used or misused for human trafficking, child trafficking in particular. We did not use the technology, but KSCF, Kailash Satyarthi Children's Foundation, has been working with a number of survivors who have been freed by us many years ago, especially in Bihar and Jharkhand and some other places. And they were able to gather very specific data of traffickers. Now we have a data of 10,000 or more traffickers. And this is the biggest data in the world. No country, no organization has the data of 10,000 traffickers at one place. But that was possible not by our activists, but also or mainly by the survivors. They have been working, and they have a unique campaign, what they call the campaign on bicycles. So they go to villages and door to door and collect data and get the information about the children who have been trafficked, and particularly the traffickers. And through the traffickers, other traffickers were, reported. And the third thing is that there should be a directory, and this anti-trafficking units and other institutions who are working on it have to create the directory of content creators. That could be done only with the help of the police dealing with the cyber crimes, that there are content creators in one part of the world, and they supply to another part and the third part, and it goes to the dark net and other places and then used. So there should be a proper directory of all content providers, content creators. And together with that, distributors. Then there are distributors and sub-distributors. Unfortunately, there are not good laws, or no law in most part of the world, and there is no international law to control the data service providers. They are so powerful people. I personally have met a number of presidents and prime ministers, lawmakers in India and the United States, senators and congressmen, and many of them understand that there should be an international convention, or there should be an international law to check this, because they are so free and they are so powerful. Politically, they are powerful and well connected. Number of presidents and prime ministers, including Vatican. I personally had a longer conversation with Pope Francis, and he was very convinced, and he deputed a person to work with us towards such an international law, ILO, one of the UN conventions. So that is something which is very much needed now in this new challenge of cybercrime added to it. So we have to, of course, until that, the agencies who have data about the content creators or the individual offenders, because there are data about individual offenders who are using this material of child sexual abuse material. There should be a registry of these individual users, and that has to be coordinated with data service providers. A few of them are still interested to help. So data service provider companies and those agencies who are able to create such a registry of those individual users of abusive material, they can work hand in hand. So there are so many ways we can try to address this problem. But there are some fundamental things. I will take you another 2-3 minutes. As preventive measures as well as the rehabilitative measures, we, especially in this post-pandemic time, we must strengthen our social protection programs which are directly benefiting children and swiftly benefiting children. I was quite impressed with West Bengal government's scheme of Kanya Shri that has helped in many ways, not only the retention in schools, but also minimizing the possibility of child marriages, child trafficking, child labor. But more importantly, the girls felt empowered because they are associated with some scheme and they are getting some direct benefit out of it. And their families also feel some sort of pride. The midday meal scheme, for example, in India, or Bolsa Escola in Brazil, that has been then enlarged into Bolsa Familia. There are similar schemes in a number of places. In South Africa, there is one midday meal scheme program. In Bangladesh also, there was a program which was extremely successful, and I worked closely with the Bangladeshi government for many, many years. And that was this paddy or rice for girls attending their schools, which was introduced when the international community has taken a pledge that education for all and gender parity in primary and secondary schools would be ensured by 2015. So Bangladesh was the first country in South Asia that has attained gender parity in schools, not only in primary schools, but also in secondary schools. And one of the major contributor of it was this food for education, or you call it paddy for education. So girls who were attending their schools were given some quantity of rice every day. Here another scheme is Swayam Siddha. Swayam Siddha, as you mentioned also, is empowering girls and women right from their school days. And the police has playing an important role, Bangla police, in creating that confidence in the society that women and girls are ready to fight against child trafficking and child marriages. So there are many good schemes. So very important thing is strengthening and investing more in social protection programs which directly and swiftly benefit children. Many of the social protection programs are meant to support hungry, needy, below poverty line people. So maybe indirectly its fruits reach out to the children, but that takes time. But there should be swift and quick, swift and considerable appropriate support for children, because children are indirectly suffering most in the marginalized communities due to pandemic and post